Next guest agrees with Senator Cruz that Republicans should delay their immigration legislation until after these midterm elections. Joining us now is the co-host of The Five, Andrea Tantaros. Great to have you with us.
Good to be back.
Senator Cruz saying very directly that the Republicans run the risk of simply throwing away their chances to regain the Senate. Certainly, John Boehner understands that. Certainly, he grasped that, does he not?
I think he's feeling a lot of pressure. Republicans felt a lot of pressure after 2012 because they hadn't been seen as the party pushing immigration reform. And so they have these knee-jerk reactions that quickly we need to do something to make it look like we're pro-immigration and that we're for, Hispanics, that we have an open border and they really need to knock that off. First of all, they don't need immigration reform. They need to shut down the border. And if I were leading the GOP right now, I would put forth a plan to close the border and perhaps offer a robust guest worker program. And that's it. But Democrats, I believe, Lou, have not sealed the border because they need that as the carrot to get amnesty. Right? They're just luring it right in front of Republicans, and they know if they just close the border, then there's really no reason for Republicans to come along.
Yeah, there are no accidents here. I agree with you. And the fact that the Republican leadership, Andrew, cannot articulate the reality that it was Ronald Reagan, a Republican icon who brought amnesty in 1986, that it was that this president follows George W. Bush, who was the next to actively, energetically pursue comprehensive immigration reform. And not one of them talk about it as being fundamental to the ideas of the Republican Party, or all of the ways in which Hispanic Americans should be identifying more with the Republican Party. Except that the leadership, the GOP establishment, has lost its way with values and the traditional values for the Republican Party, so they can't match it up anywhere. I mean, I can't figure out what these guys are trying to do.
They're not really good at, say, tooting their own horn, right? I mean, they ignore even in a war on women, supposedly launched by Republicans, that Richard Nixon was the one who put Title IX in play, and they're big on climate change and the environment. Well, who started the EPA? A Republican. They never want to take credit. So that is a really good point. We're not good as a party at patting ourselves on the back and reminding voters it was us who did all of these things.
And at a time when the Republicans are going to need a terrific turnout this year to win these midterm elections, despite this president is in the tank with his approval numbers, despite the fact that the Democrats have no cohesive response to the disaster that is Obamacare, we're all on tenterhooks kind of wondering, how will they screw it up this time?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're thinking.
And the Democrats are pushing health care reform for the same reason they're pushing immigration reform, right? Get everybody dependent on the United States government. They know that if they can get women dependent because of birth control, Hispanics dependent on the welfare state, if they can get Americans dependent on greater health care plans that are government run, they'll get the voter for life.
I think you're exactly right, but I think also it's becoming glaringly obvious that the GOP establishment is utterly dependent on big business, U.S. multinationals, the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say, I was thrilled today to hear John Boehner refer to the middle class. My God, he's awakened to the idea that maybe the Republican Party should embrace working men and women.
And you know what?
I'm sincere in that.
Point. That is
I'm excited about it.
Why they can't get out of their box. Now, I'm the child of an immigrant, first-generation American, grew up in a restaurant kitchen with plenty of immigrants. I speak Spanish. I get it. I'm sympathetic. But your point is very well taken. Why don't Republicans get out of their little box? When they go home to their districts, why do they always have to go to the country clubs or the Chamber of Commerce events? Why don't they go out and go into African American communities and show up? Why don't they go talk to some of those union workers? Maybe it's not friendly turf, but if you talk to any union worker about jobs, they are angry about this immigration bill. They're not happy. They're not happy with what their leadership is doing in the unions. And that is a mistake that Republicans make, ignoring the unions in this immigration debate. That could help turn out those purple voters that Ronald Reagan did so well with.
Right. And I suspect that some of these folks, these establishment types, either don't understand the history that starts with Ronald Reagan, really, or they just simply don't care. They're just so comfortable in that as you put it, that country.
Either one's not good.
No. It's as you say, time to change. Andrea, great to see you.
Thank you, Lou. Always great to be with you.
Look forward to your imminent return. Thanks so much.